Real quick on Harrison Jr., last couple of years, second in yards per route run, second most catches versus man coverage, no drops on deep balls. He's really good at just about everything. I think that's what strikes me the most watching him, Brentley, is he just looks like he's been in the NFL for 5 years. Like all the little things he does, the way he...
Okay, that was Mina basically gushing over Marvin Harrison Jr., which is, quite frankly, what all of the National Football League analysts and National Football League scouts have done. It is clear as water is wet that Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be the first wide receiver selected in this year's National Football League draft. Now, that doesn't mean a player like Malik Nabers, Romeo Odunze, and Brian Tthompson Jr., also from LSU, won't go in the top 10. There are four great wide receivers that certainly could end up going in the top 10 of this year's National Football League draft. Now, in terms of Marvin Harrison Jr., he certainly is one of the best wide receivers I've seen come into the National Football League in quite some time. Look, there were all sorts of questions that I had about Justin Jefferson before he entered the NFL. At the end of the day, what you're getting with Marvin Harrison Jr., of course, is the legacy part, the gene, so to speak. We're throwing up a picture right now of Marvin Harrison Sr. with his son when he was young. I think right about now, Marvin Harrison is probably texting his boy saying to him, hey, you remember that year? Maybe you're too young to remember, but do you remember that year where I caught the ball 143 times for over 1,700 yards? Yeah, go ahead and top that, kid. I mean, those are the conversations that they're having virtually and maybe even having at the dinner table. Look, I don't know what goes on in the Harrison household behind closed doors, but it is a fascinating thing to think about. A Marvin Harrison Jr. entering the National Football League, looking as smooth and looking as ready as any wide receiver I've seen enter the NFL in quite some time. Now, that doesn't mean at the end of the day that SportsCenter highlights aren't going to fixate on a guy like Brian Tthompson Jr., who's going to be a little bit more spectacular, or his LSU counterpart in one Malik Nabers, who's certainly going to be better at the old yak. That's right. The yards after catch is actually one of, if you can find a knock on Marvin Harrison Jr., that a lot of people, when they're being honest with you about where he is as a player entering the National Football League, would tell you that might be the one area of concern. Look, the route running is tremendous. His schemes to get himself open is tremendous. His ability to have, and this is one of my all-time favorite wide receiver terms, late hands. You've got to have great late hands if you're going to be a great wide receiver in the NFL. And that is something that we've seen Marvin Harrison Jr. display at the college level for quite some time. You know, you put all of those things together, plus the ability to read defenses as well as any other top-tier quarterback entering the NFL, his ability to handle press coverages, his ability to simply just get himself open, and then, of course, his catching ability is absolutely top-notch. Clearly, this is, of the four wide receivers coming into the NFL, the best of the best. Now, once again, that doesn't mean the other three wide receivers that I've mentioned, who are probably going to go in the top 10, are not going to have a shot at being great wide receivers in the National Football League. In fact, all of these players will most certainly have an opportunity to do that. Now, in terms of where everybody's going to go, just sort of based on the current draft order with about 10 days to go, you would expect Marvin Harrison Jr. to be sent to Arizona Cardinal football hell. You would expect him to end up there with the Arizona Cardinals. Now, in terms of the other players, where will they end up in the upcoming draft? That, my friends, is certainly a good question. Now, just based on how things are most likely to play out, you could expect the New York Giants to take Malik Nabers with a 6th pick, followed by Odunze going to the Chicago Bears at number 9. And that is a pick that I absolutely love for the Chicago Bears if they actually pull it off. You know, Odunze is not necessarily the best route runner or the best runner going east to west, but he can certainly go north and south. And with a guy like Caleb Williams coming in, who will be your starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears, I really like the pairing of those two together. And then Brian Tthompson Jr. will most likely end up in Aaron Rodgers' universe. Now, will Aaron Rodgers actually acknowledge that Brian Tthompson Jr. is there as a rookie wide receiver? Look what Aaron Rodgers did to his last couple rookie wide receivers in Green Bay. Anyways, Brian Tthompson Jr. looks like he would end up going to the Jets, that at number 10. So once again, that's 4 wide receivers in the top 10. This is unprecedented territory for this particular wide receiver class. Now, in terms of Marvin Harrison Jr., and I have to say, I mean, he has this excellent balance of burst off of his breaks that allows him to basically defeat really tight man coverage. And that right there is a good summary, so to speak, of why Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be successful in the National Football League right away. Now, defenses will hone in on his tactics and tricks and will eventually do some things to attempt to slow him down. But playing for the Arizona Cardinals, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to have an opportunity to set all sorts of rookie records in the National Football League this particular season. Just needs to put on a few more pounds. All right, that is it for today's Underrated. Hey, shameless plug time. If you haven't had a chance, check out our new sports website. We're dumping money into this whole thing. We're almost up to 1 million views here on YouTube. We've just built a brand new website. We're posting a bunch of new content every day. Money is being spent, North America. Underrated.media is the website. Check it out and let us know what you think. For the Underrated, I am Dave DeBaugh, wishing you all a tremendous rest of your sports viewing day. And to the guitar riffs we go.